everybody. Welcome to another episode here. And today I've got Emily Smith. I've been wanting to interview her for a while. So happy that we have her here. We're going to go over database, past clients, how incoming leads come through, the back end, integrations, and a lot of good stuff. So first of all, Emily, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Tristan. I'm excited to be here too. So thank you.
Awesome.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's really nice out here in Malibu, California. How's Orlando?
It's good. Kind of dreary today, but we were just talking. It's like low 60s, so I don't think I can complain. I think our northern friends are getting hit with like a super cold burst these days. So I'm just glad to not be in that. Former Michigan girl here, so really glad to not be in the cold weather.
Michigan's too cold. Michigan's too cold. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us here. Let's get right into it. Emily, can you tell us a little bit about the team structure, brokerage structure? Because you guys have about 60 agents around there, right?
Yep, we're about 65 total on the team. I have 37 agents in the field right now. And so last year, the team served 934 families together for about 200. I know, it's what makes us tired at night, running so hard and so fast together, but for about $285 million in volume. Super proud that 40% of that was repeat referral. So we've got a good, healthy.
What's the percentage of that?
40%.
40%. That's insane.
We worked really hard on that over the last couple of years. So it's not by accident that we see that show up as one of our top numbers there. And we've got a good, healthy amount of other lead sources that keeps the business moving forward, which I think we're going to talk about today. So I'm excited about that. Average agent sells about 27 homes a year on the team. We do have a few more that do a lot more than that, and we have a few that do a little less than that, but the average is about 27. And then I am personally super proud as the COO of what we call our teamage, because we're a brokerage that kind of functions as a true team under our umbrella, is that 25 of our 65 have been with us more than 5 years. And you guys know in real estate that is a long time for folks to stick around a brokerage. So really proud of that number. We're going into 2021 with 63 team members. We're the number 2 team in Florida against the most amazing Robert Slack. We have utmost respect for Robert and his team and what he's doing, but we're number 2 in Florida behind him. Number 1 in Central Florida. I'm going to hold on to that as long as we can. Real Trends named us number 19 last year in the country for units. So that just means we haven't gotten smart enough to figure out how to up our price point to do less of those yet, but we're getting there. So yes, but that's a little bit about who we are down here.
Thanks for doing that. So let's dive into the obvious.
Sure.
40% of your business comes from past clients, from repeat and referral, from your sphere, right? Mm-hmm. How do you keep track of those people so you don't lose them in the database? What does that look like for your team, and who runs it?
Sure. So first of all, we teach from day one of onboarding, whether you're coming in as staff or an agent, that our database is absolutely everything to us. So we're starting with the knowledge from the top that it doesn't matter if this person is new. It doesn't matter if this person has traveled as a new agent in your phone and you're bringing your database to us, that we want to keep all of these people in a centralized place so we can keep track of who they are, all of the unique things that make them them. And we train our agents to think, when you've got 20 people in your hand that you've worked with, it's easy to remember birthdays and maybe what kind of beer they drink and what their dog's name is. But when you have 200 or 300 past clients, it becomes so much harder to remember those things. So it's right from the top thinking through, how can I put as much information in centralized, organized places to keep track of these guys? So FollowUp Boss for us allows us to keep everybody we know in a centralized place, and to teach, again, from day one on the team that this is the place that we're going to put these people. This is how we're going to organize these people. And I think the trick to our repeat referral rate actually starts with that, as weird as that sounds. Because if people don't have clarity on where to put people or how to label them or how to put the right information in the right spots, we can't really come behind them with leverage to market to them on an agent's behalf. So if the agent comes in and puts their people in and a birthday is in place, or if they're a past client that maybe they closed at a previous brokerage, but they come in and put that home anniversary date in, we can pick up right behind. We can send birthday cards on their behalf. We can send home anniversary cards on their behalf. We can do things to market to them. And then for those agents, they now have that resource on the fly that if they're like, oh man, I know this guy's name, but I can't remember. They can quickly get into their database, look at their custom fields and be like, oh, that's right. This is Joe. He's from here. He had a couple of kids and a dog and they wanted to, and they can get there faster. So repeat referral starts with just being organized and then having a plan. So when you work with one of our agents, you go through the process and you come to the end of your time and you go to closing, the agent is going to invite you into a Facebook group, which is a little outside of FUB, but it's like a private group for our folks where we can run contests or keep in touch with them or have them kind of in social media land. And then our client care coordinators on the inside, which are transaction managers, are going to start a post-closing plan. And that post-closing plan is going to lead our agents over the next year to do the right things by that client so that client doesn't feel forgotten about. So maybe
I got questions.
Go ahead, Tristan. Yeah.
I got questions here. I'm like, I lost my first question due to so much good stuff, which is great. All right.
I could talk about this all day. I'm so passionate about this.
Me too. So I love this. So take me back to when you said agents are inputting their people into the database. Who's in charge of making sure that everyone inputs the right data, and who's in charge of making sure that everyone is in unison with the tags and just the right information so they know what to put in?
Yeah, no, very good question. So in our world, we have a leads manager, and it's a full-time position, and her job is twofold. The first is to help folks get their people and/or our lead sources get their people into the database in a way that makes sense. So controlling what stages are we using, what sources are we using, what tags need to be in place from the start, what action plans need to be attached to those things from the start. So if you're a brand new agent and you're coming to the team, we've stabilized that through our onboarding with a video training. So it's like a FollowUp Boss 101 that they can watch before they even get to a session with her live. Yep.
Where do you host that? YouTube or where?
So we actually have that hidden in our Google Drive. We've created like a Google Drive team drive. And so it's all kind of tucked behind. And on my to-do list this year is to put that into a little more of a classroom type setting where
Like
we can tell what they've watched or
Traineal is a good one if you want to take a look at that.
I'm going to write that down, actually. I'm hoping to take as many notes as I'm giving today. It's really my goal.
My brain's already fried and we haven't even started. So I'm like, I can't keep up with the questions here. So let's go deeper into this, because now my question is, what does the organization look like? Since you're the COO, you're quarterbacking everything. So who reports to you on that first level? What does that look like?
Sure. So it's probably worth saying that I run hand in hand with Jenny Wemer, who's the team leader of our company, original lead agent, like most extraordinary woman I know. She doesn't pay me to say that. I just adore her. So we work hand in hand. Her husband is the broker, Mike. And so we basically work for Mike together to build this thing out. And then we have a leads manager who reports to us. And again, her role is helping getting everything right in the pipeline, and then also managing what happens in that pipeline. Can agents keep up with what they're supposed to do? Are they doing the right things? Are they catching the right things? And she has support staff underneath of her helping serve up opportunities to agents, which maybe we can get into in a minute, because I think that's a really powerful piece. Our marketing director reports to me, and that's where listing marketing, our brand marketing lives under that channel. And then we have, and then we have client care coordinators, which we call they're transaction managers. We call them client care coordinators because I didn't want transaction in an email signature, because I didn't want the client
I like that.
being thought of as a number. Is kind of important to us, but they are hubs for our agents. So our transaction managers are so much more in our organization than what I've kind of seen out in the marketplace. These ladies, they're all ladies, so I default to saying ladies or girls, but these ladies are the best in the business. They are so smart and they have seen everything. They have written and handled more contracts than most agents in the field. Yes, Kristen, sorry.
How did you find them?
So along the way, a few of them are around longer than I have been. So they made their way to us from other teammates. A few of the newer ones we've hired in the last few years have come from teammate recommendations. So we've said to the team, hey guys, we're growing. We need to get ahead of this because it takes people a good 6 to 8 months to get their feet under them in this business. So let's hire ahead. Who do you know that we should be talking to? And we were lucky enough that they came out of the woodwork and came from within the team.
That is so awesome, because that's exactly what I tell other teams and brokerages. When you're looking for talent, hire from within the people you know. They might know somebody because they know exactly what you're looking for, right?
Right, right. Well, and teammates, if they're proud of the culture and where they work, they're not going to bring you people that they don't feel like are a fit, because they're going to want to bring you people that are going to be good culture fits to start. So we have charged those client care coordinators though to lead a group of agents. So they have a group of agents assigned to them that they are consistently working with and managing their transactions, but it's so much more than that. They're helping coach them along. They're reporting up to Jenny and I about what they're seeing, about trends. They're going, hey, we've got an education gap here with this agent. They may need a little more training here.
Mhm.
Or, hey, this is a conversation I had with so-and-so that I think you guys may need to know about on a brokerage level. And that wouldn't exist had we not built to that over time. But so that role has become more leadership than I would have ever given it credit to 3 or 4 years ago. But those ladies are amazing. We couldn't do what we do without them.
I
And those
agree.
are kind of the levels. So you've got lead management and database management over here, got transaction management with, again, kind of that leadership piece at play for just trying to keep the agents together. And then you have marketing. And those are the groups that report to our
I
level.
love that. All right. So I'm gonna go a little bit off of what I told you just because you gave me an idea. First, this is recorded. It'll go on to the Follow Up Boss YouTube channel. I put up the link there. It'll be up by tomorrow. So if we're going a little too fast, you can always pause us tomorrow and go through all of that. But here's my question to you, Emily, and then I'll go to the audience because they've got a couple of questions. With your marketing department, do you have anybody that's running PR or anybody that's running specifically social media channels, like just YouTube, just Instagram, just Facebook, anything like that?
So we've divided our marketing into a listing marketing seat and a brand marketing seat. And brand marketing is mainly Facebook. We're focusing on LinkedIn this year, focusing a little on Pinterest this year, and Instagram. Those are kind of the channels where we're putting some efforts.
That's brilliant. I didn't think of that before. Holy crap. That's really good. I'm taking notes on that. All right. So for those of you who missed that, she separated the marketing person into just focusing on all the listings they get. So all the listings they sell, all of that information having to do with the listing, and then a separate one for social media. I don't know why I didn't think, Emily, that's a big one for me.
I think it's huge. And I think it's, one is going to take precedence, right? And the listings come when they come. And so even if you have, the best leverage underneath of you or the best automation built for your marketing underneath of you, the listings come first. So the brand stuff tends to go to the wayside because you've got to hurry up and get that listing marketed. And so if you have people that are truly focused in both space, they can be experts at it. So our listing
Yeah.
marketing person, like our coordinator, it's her job to be the best that she can possibly be at understanding, if I fill in this form and somebody's looking for, say, like a mother-in-law suite, have I checked off every possible way that every experienced and inexperienced agent in the market is going to be able to find this property? Because all of the syndication out to the other sites is going to start right at MLS. So making sure that MLS is right, and then figuring out, all of the other portals that real estate touches, every one of them, I think of them as games. So it's, how can we win this game? How can we get to the top of the search in this game? And her whole
Mhm.
role is centered around knowing how to watch those portals, watch where the listings go, and then win and get to the top.
I like that. All right. A question. What do you pay your transaction coordinators? I know you don't call them that, but what do you pay those?
Sure. So there's a bit of a range. We typically start their salaries somewhere between 35 and 40. And then there's health insurance benefit that they're able to tack onto, and they're eligible for like a 401k within a year of joining us. And then we have some that have been with us a long time, and they make much more than that. It depends on experience. We don't bonus per file. I know that's a question that gets brought up a lot with transaction managers. It's strictly salary, because we find that if you bonus per file, they want to take on more than they can chew just for the extra money, and you don't, your quality of service kind of suffers because they're just trying to take on more to get more. So instead, we'd rather pay well from the start and keep somebody in their seat for a long time.
That makes a lot of sense. And for those of you that are just joining us, because I know we had other people on Facebook, I'm interviewing Emily Smith from the Wemer Brokerage team slash, what do you call it? A
Team Ridge.
Team Ridge, yes.
Yeah, Team Ridge.
And their volume was about 250 million last year. And what was the average transaction per agent?
Yeah, we're about 27 average sales, so 934 families served for 285 million last year.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's get into a little bit more into the database portion of this, because I think that's where a lot of teams and brokerages drop the ball, and that's in the incoming leads. We talked about how you have somebody who's in charge of making sure that it all looks really nice and it's functioning. But take me through the process. Where do you get most of your transactions from after the past clients in the sphere? Where do they come from?
Sure. So for us, it's our Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. We have about 40 lead sources total in the system that we're kind of working through at any given time. Our big players, though, are your Zillow, your Realtor.com. Ylopo is another big source for us. And then we tier those leads and those opportunities for our agents based on experience. We have agents that are eligible to answer lead line phone calls. So we're 2 deep, 18 hours a day live, answering phone calls out of FollowUp Boss and servicing leads.
In-house ISAs, outsourced?
So we used to be an ISA model, and we've transitioned over the last year back to agents, which I know that's a big discussion in the real estate community these days about how this should be done and handled. We made the call to go back to agents because we wanted to spread the nurture out amongst people that are already experts. That's what they do. The trick to it for us, though, you agree? Is that what you said, Tristan?
Yeah, I agree. I run the same thing. I've actually run both at the same time, and I can tell you I have better success with the agents calling.
That's really interesting. We've seen that. We had an anomaly ISA, like a phenomenal ISA in his seat, and you can't scale with one really phenomenal ISA, like you just can't. And so for us, we said we needed to open the opportunity back up to the agents, get the nurtures back into the hands of the agent. And then I think the secret sauce for us in making it all work, though, is the leads admin and her team. Yes. So she has 3 part-time folks who work for her. They work between 20 and 30 hours a week a piece. And their whole job is to watch the database on their shifts. And they're catching things that the system is serving back up that maybe an agent might miss because they're in the field.
Like what?
So like a priority, like somebody looked at a listing 3 times. And so they may be interested in it. If I'm in the field and serving a family, I'm going to miss it. Yeah, so if the lead admin can catch it and say, hey, I'm, Emily's assistant, and she asked me to reach out to you. Would you like me to schedule a showing? Emily would love to, be able to and get that set up, especially in this market where inventory is so shallow and, time is everything. It works better to just have someone dedicated to watching when people are live and actively interested right in this moment.
Yeah, you'll have a higher conversion rate. All right, let's go through the process. A Zillow lead comes through. Now, Zillow works a little different than a Google PPC or a Facebook lead ad. So take me through that process on the back end of FollowUp Boss and that call, the incoming call.
Sure. So if a call comes in and we're answering it straight up, hopefully we get them on the first ring. An agent is converting the lead and off it runs. If we have a lead that comes in and say it's an inquiry, we're going to have an auto text go out, an auto email go out right away off an action plan. And we give up right away that it's automated. And that's something unique that we do that most people don't. And we do it because I think they're getting hit by so much other automation if they're coming from a source like that we want to sort of stand out with some honesty. So we'll say like, hey, this is Jenny Wemer, actually it's automated, but a real team member will be reaching out to you shortly. We'd love to help you with 123 Main Street on blah, blah, blah. And then we ask them a question. And just the question and I know you're big on questions, Tristan, to try to drive engagement. And so I've learned that from you over time and your team. But that the auto email goes out also gives up that it's not a real person, which cues the real agent to be able to call. So day one for us, and we receive about 80 to 90 of like these real opportunities a day that the team is working through. The rest of our calls that come through are like marketing or maybe a realtor with questions. So the agents on leads are busy and they're too deep so that someone can always catch the phone. The lead admin is third rollover. So if we need 3 deep on a phone, we can do it. So we're not missing much that comes through. If we don't get them right away, they roll over for us into like a day 2 or day 3 bucket. And that so day 1 for us is all about speed to lead. How do I get to this person? How do I just call, text, email, and try to get them on the phone, get what they need? answer their initial questions. Day 2 for us is about research. So do they already own a home? And if they do, could I put them on HomeBot? Or did they inquire on a home, and can I look around at any hidden inventory that I have? And what can I put back in front of them as a hook to get them to answer my call, because maybe they got the answer they needed on that house from the other 4 agents that were calling them, but maybe it stopped there because maybe the answer was, oh, it's pending. So no, everybody had a dead end. So can I show back up with value and say, okay, I know that one was pending, but have you seen this one? Or this is a property that isn't on the market yet, and would you be interested in checking out this one? So you're hooking them with hidden inventory, or you're hooking them, if you're on the YLOPO plan, you can hook them with like a one-off listing, so to speak.
I like that. So
And then, yeah, of course.
On that, you mentioned HomeBot, and now I want to ask you, what integrations do you use most with FollowUp Boss?
So the Pixel is my favorite. I'm a huge fan of the Pixel. I think that was a game changer when that came to market for us. So we can now see what clients are looking at. We have that inside peek. We've trained our agents, be watching that, be looking, use that data. We also use MailChimp and SendGrid. So SendGrid we're using if we're just sending out like a mass email.
Okay.
And sending out something quick. It's just basic text that we wanted to, maybe it's hey, we have a coming soon, and we wanted to get that out in front of a group of people. MailChimp we're using for more of like a pretty style e-newsletter that we send once a month, and we segment those by buyer focused material, seller focused material, then past client focused material. Because our past clients, you don't want to just market them to death, right? It's relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. One theme that I'm noticing about your brokerage team is the authenticity piece is very, very, very apparent. So congrats on that. I think that's super key. All right. So sorry to interrupt you. Just wanted to point that out.
No, you're fine. Well, and to that note, you have to work on that piece, right? So that's a choice piece. We choose to spend 2 extra minutes when we're writing our templates or we're sending something out to go, how would I experience this on the other side? Like if I'm the client, how do I hear this? Do I feel like I'm being marketed to, or do I feel like these guys are really trying to give me what I need or answer the question that I actually asked? Because how often do we see that in lead management where they're like, hey, I have a specific question, and we're just hitting them with whatever the pre-written script is instead of really listening and really answering what they asked for to start.
Very true. Any other integrations?
Zapier, IDX Broker, and YLOPO, we're sort of stuck between 2 IDXs at this point, just based on the way our website is built. So quite a few of the integrations.
All right, awesome. So we got 5-minute warning here, so we're going to go a little faster. Tell me some best practices that have helped your brokerage/team grow by using FollowUp Boss.
I think really making sure that you understand your sources, where things are coming from, making sure you're breaking down how those are getting into the system so it's clear where things are coming from. So for example, everything having a unique phone number. It's such a small thing. FollowUp Boss makes it super easy to do this. You can reach out to your success manager and they can help you do this too if this isn't something you have set up for your account. But having that phone number that when a lead calls from realtor.com, you know exactly that it's from realtor.com. Or if they're calling from your website, you know they're calling from your website or from Google or from a sign call. Because it will help you know if where you're placing your marketing dollars makes sense. So that's number one, that piece of the puzzle. The other piece for us is just your people have to know how to use the system. So you have to you have to find the resources. If you can't do it, you have to find all
easier said than done.
Oh, it's definitely the hardest part. Yes. And it's daily, right? So every time we change something, we're a cruise ship now. So like with 60 people, you're not jet skiing. You have to figure out how to teach 60 people what the change was. My favorite trick for that is we simplified all of our FollowUp Boss down into like 2 success pieces for them. It was get the source right and get the stage right. Because if they will do that for us, the stage can trigger an automation, which will start an action plan. So every stage we have, yes.
No, keep going. I want to know about stages.
Like,
Stages. Let's
I'm
go
gonna
into
start using a
stages.
hand too. I like it. So every stage we have, every one of them has an action plan attached to it, so that when an agent says, just kidding, this is not an A buyer, they're actually a C buyer, they're a nurture plan kicks in, and all the agent had to do was move the stage. Or if the agent says, you know what, this is a lead that I can't service, there's actually a stage that they can kick that to, and it goes out to the team. There's a stage that it, like, just trying to get smart with, like, how do I think about how to make this sustainable for lots of people using the system? And so the stage was the easiest way for us to teach people, move one thing, the rest will start, and then follow your tasks. So if a task pops up, or if a client is getting an auto email and you're getting, you know, the notification, that's all the better. But all they had to do was change the stage.
All right. So what stages do you have that you can remember off memory?
We have so many stages. I know we have A buyer, B buyer, C buyer, and those are going to be like our main buyer stages. And these are ones. So let me quickly, the way we think of our leads is uncontacted and contacted. So uncontacted leads are living in lead stage. So lead stage for us is going to be like lead 0 to 1 and lead 2 to 3. And those for us are leads 24 hours old, leads 2 to 3 days old. And then we actually have a stage called lead pool. So if they're 4 days and older, they're going to the pool for us. And that makes them eligible for any agent not on a lead shift to call them and work the pond. Then if you get into our seller, we have seller lead stages that kind of mimic. So it's like seller lead 0 to 1, seller lead 2 to 3, seller lead pool. And
I have
then
a
the
feeling
same thing.
I have a feeling we need to go into that in another webinar. We got 1 minute left. One question for you. What is your ratio of agents to admin on your team?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to actually count. I know we're 37 in the field, so 65 minus 37. It's constantly changing because we're growing like crazy. So
Right.
28 staff members.
That's good. That's quite, I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
that's part-time and full-time.
Love that. All right. Let's do a part 2 to this. You want to do that? And then we can go into a little bit more into the organizational chart so people can see where everything fits. And then we can go into stages and smart lists. Are you up to that?
Yeah, no, I could talk about this stuff all day. I'm super passionate about this.
All right. Well, you made the interview so easy, by the way. So easy.
Thank you, Joe.
Somebody said part 2, 3, 4, and 5, please.
That's really kind,
I love that.
That's awesome. I don't think we're using, I mean, I've seen so many amazing ways that people use FollowUp Boss, and this is just one. This is just what works for us, right? So I'm always happy to share what's working for us over here.
Thanks, Emily. And if you have any referrals, send them over to Orlando.
Yes, please. It's nice and warm. We got lots of tax benefits for you. Bring them down.
I love it. Thanks, Emily. Appreciate you. Bye, everybody.